Find your breath. Invite a deeper breath in and a longer breath out. And as you deepen your breath, feel how naturally the breath deepens you. The entire physical practice of yoga is in service to the breath. And when someone has the opportunity to practice yoga while pregnant, it is this special occasion where two heartbeats breathe as one, where two hearts share one breath, the same breath. And when practicing yoga while pregnant, I mean, really all of us, when we practice yoga, the entire physical practice of yoga is in service to the breath. The physical practice of yoga is an opportunity, an invitation to stretch ourselves through aligned engagement in ways that optimize our capacity for breath, for energy, for life. As the breath feeds the heart feeds the mind feeds the body, and for pregnant students, all of this feeds, nurtures, and nourishes a growing baby. Take a moment to notice where you are, to notice how you are, and to consider if there's anything in particular that you need or want from this practice of yoga. Allow yourself to soften, to become more sensitive and more receptive to the practice. So that you can receive the fruits, the gifts of the practice. You can bring your hands to your belly or bring your hands together before your heart in Anjali Mudra. So to your heart or to your baby's heart, to your future baby's hearts, or to the heart center wherein the voice of the Great Mother resides in every single one of us. Within every single one of us resides the voice of the Great Mother, our instincts, our intuition, the source of supreme divine love, never further than our own hearts, which is never further than our breath. We place this aspect before us as a guide for at least the time we spend together. Together, let's set the tone for our practice by sharing the voices of our hearts and the sound of one Om. Deep breath in. Om. Bow to your heart, the wisdom in your heart and your baby's heart, the wisdom in your baby's heart. Probably wouldn't say that in not a prenatal class, but there are many babies with us here today. And releasing the hands, blink open the eyes. Okay. So we're going to start by coming onto all fours in a tabletop position. So again, this is in the style, I would say in the style of Three Queens, but in the style of like my classes in particular. And we'll incorporate the modifications in this way. A lot of times throughout pregnancy or in different parts of pregnancy, different parts of the body become weirdly sore and tender. So we have a blanket for underneath the knees as needed. Sometimes the wrists are sensitive, so you could always have a rolled up blanket or one of those yoga wedges for underneath the heels of the hands, or come onto the forearms if the wrists are really sore or tender. And usually we start in cat-cow in my classes. One thing that's really common in pregnancy are like strange, severe cramping in the calves. So I would definitely take this time, either like if you have regular students coming who are pregnant, just take this time to, in place of cat-cow or in addition to cat-cow or as a modification for cat-cow, to do these calf stretches from table. So stretch your left leg back behind you, ball of the foot tucked under. With the ball of the foot on the ground, stretch back through your left heel. Press the hands down and forward to press the heel back. You could also do this on your forearms. Breathing through the nose, sinuses, allergies, and pregnancy permitting. Sometimes the mucus builds up during pregnancy. It could be weirdly stuffy. And switch sides, but breathing smoothly, steadily, evenly, so as to not hold the breath. Belly breathing through the nose. As you inhale, the belly expands, bathing self and baby in breath. And as you exhale, there's a softening and the belly draws in, and you sort of not squeeze, but hug the belly, hug the baby closer to the warm power of your center. Can switch sides again. So like 2 or 3 times per calf. Notice what you feel, how it feels, where you feel it. And then with the toes tucked under, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Throughout pregnancy, as the belly gets bigger, we want to take the feet wider apart to accommodate space for baby, space for belly. Knees can be bent. I have my feet outer hips distance apart. I'm going to pretend like I'm in my 3rd trimester. Push through the arms to lift through the hips. Can keep the knees bent as you stretch the heels back. Totally optional to alternate straightening one leg and then the other if it feels appropriate. The main thing is to encourage pregnant practitioners to listen to their bodies. That is the most important thing any yoga instructor can do for pregnant people, is to encourage them, empower them to listen to their bodies. It can be very different from day to day. And then slowly start to walk your hands back towards your feet to ground through the heels, knees bent. Climb your hands, your elbows onto your thighs. Knees bent, like chair pose. Bring your hands to your hips and stand up tall. So in a regular class, we'd be walking forward to the front of the mat. When we modify for prenatal, we're walking towards the back of the mat so that we're shifting the weight into the legs rather than the arms. And then we're going to want the block set up near the back of the mat. So we'll start with some prenatal sun salute variations. So feet at least hips distance apart. And again, as the belly gets bigger, you'll take your feet wider to provide more support, more stability. As the belly gets bigger, the tendency is for the feet to want to turn out and the kind of pelvic floor narrows and the thighs pop forward. We really want to resist that in pregnancy. Keep the feet parallel, which will support the lower back more. Lord knows the low back gets super taxed during pregnancy. So we keep the heels a little bit wider to keep the feet more parallel. Sometimes in pregnancy, when we come up from standing, there's a shift in blood pressure that can cause lightheadedness, which is why I had us walk back and kind of take it slow, because I know that there's pregnant people here today, and then bring hands to hips. A lot of times reaching the arms up can affect the blood pressure too. So again, just a reminder to pregnant folks, remind pregnant folks to listen to their bodies. And if it's better to just bring hands to hips rather than reach arms up, to opt for that. Okay, starting at the back of the mat, feet hips distance apart and parallel, bring your hands to your heart. Invite a deeper breath in and a longer breath out. Feel both feet on the ground. Look for your breath and follow in the currents of your breath. As you exhale, release the hands. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Exhale, bend the legs. Fingertips tap the earth or the blocks. Stay deep in the legs as you inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, sit deep. Inhale, push the legs straight, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart. Deeper breath in, longer breath out, release the hands. Inhale, reach forward and up. Exhale, bend the legs, fingertips tap the earth. Inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, find your blocks and bring your hands to the blocks in front of you and press your thighs back, reach your heart forward for Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale to fold. So the pregnant person may or may not need blocks here. Certainly as the belly gets bigger, you're going to need more space. So the blocks are there if and as needed. Encourage the use of support and props as needed. And then blocks to the side as you inhale, walk forward to the top of the plank, lower the knees to the earth. exhale, lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale the arms straight. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands all the way back to the floor or blocks, knees bent, elbows to thighs. Inhale, reach the arms up, push the legs straight. Exhale, hands to heart. So as soon as a person finds out that they're pregnant, there's no laying on the belly, no compressing the belly. So that was variation 1 of a sun salutation. I'm going to show some other options too. Here we go. Stand, feel both feet on the ground, hips distance or wider and parallel. Find your breath and following in the currents of the breath. Release the hands as you exhale. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the legs, fingertips tap the earth. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Chair pose. Exhale, fingertips to the floor or blocks. Press the thighs back, reach the heart forward. Big breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, walk the hands out to plank. Lower the knees. You can add the chaturanga push-up here if it's appropriate for you. So it depends on how your shoulders and wrists are feeling. Chaturanga with the knees down. Inhale the arms straight. Exhale, walk your hands back to sit on your heels. Take a strap behind your back. Take the shoulders up and back. Reach the arms back and up. Shoulder stretch. You can sit on your heels here as long as it's bearable. It's really good. And if it's unbearable or when it becomes unbearable, you can lift your hips up. Reach the arms back and up. And this is in place of a cobra. Shoulder stretch. Heart opener, chest opener. Exhale to release. Walk your hands forward. Tabletop, downward facing dog. From the upper back, push down through the arms to lift through the hips. Press back through the thighs and heels. Knees can be bent. Walk your hands back towards your feet to ground the heels. Hands to the blocks, reach the heart forward. Thighs back, exhale, fold. Bend the legs, elbows to thighs. Reach the arms up, chair pose. And on an inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart. Deeper breath in. Longer breath out, release the hands. Inhale, stretch up. Again, if that causes any lightheadedness, just skip reaching the arms up. Exhale, bend the legs, fingertips tap the earth. Inhale, Utkatasana, reach the arms up. Exhale, fingertips to the floor or blocks in front of you. Press your thighs back, reach the heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Blocks to the sides. Inhale, walk forward through downward dog to table. Chaturanga or no chaturanga, with the knees supporting you. Shoulders stay lifting, belly draws in. Inhale the arms straight. Exhale, sit back on your heels, shoulder stretch. Big breath in, can lift the hips or keep them on the heels. Exhale, lower the hips, release the strap or the hands, walk forward. Inhale for table. Exhale for downward facing dog. Deeper breath in, breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body, and body to baby. Walk your hands back, ground through your legs and feet. Hands to blocks. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, fold. Bend the legs. Elbows, hands to thighs. Reach the arms up. Breathing. On an inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart. Notice if you're getting warmer. Okay, so options there. You can do with the chaturanga, without the chaturanga, and sit back on the heels for the shoulder stretch. I'm gonna show how to support yourself in cobra in the event that it's appropriate, okay? So you're gonna need your blanket for this. And as the belly gets bigger, the support of the blanket's gonna have to get thicker. And when we lower down, we're gonna be placing the blanket at the tops of the thighs, okay? So it's gonna require a little bit of adjusting. But for pregnant practitioners, once you show them this and they do it a few times, empower them to kind of learn where they want things and just keep an eye that it's in the most supportive position. So standing at the back of your mat with your blocks, your strap handy. Have the blanket sort of prepared near the center of the mat, and then we'll micro adjust as needed. Inhale, reach forward and up. Exhale, bend the legs, fingertips tap the earth or blocks. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to the floor or blocks. Inhale, legs straight, heart forward. Exhale, fold. Bow to your heart, bow to baby. As you inhale, walk it out through downward dog. You can always stay here in downward dog, puppy, or table. Table on the hands or forearms is a great position to be in and breathe in. That helps bring baby into optimal position. Inhale to supported plank, knees on the ground. And as you exhale, bend your elbows and bring the tops of the thighs, the pubic bone to the blanket. Point the feet, and you land in a supported cobra so that the belly is nowhere near the floor, okay? Shoulders up and back, press down through the inner edges of the hands and hug the hands without moving them in towards each other and back towards the feet. Stretch back through the legs, press down through the feet. Exhale, downward facing dog. Find your breath. Breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body, body to baby, or whatever it is you're here to create. On an exhale, walk your hands back towards your feet. Shift the weight into your legs. Inhale, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Bend the legs, elbows to thighs for a breath. On an inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, sit deep. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart. Tadasana, feel both feet on the ground. Find your breath, linking breath and movement. As you exhale, release the hands. Inhale, stretch forward and up. Exhale, bend your legs, fingertips touch the earth. Sit deep. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fingertips to the floor or blocks. And as you inhale, press your thighs back, heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen from hips to armpits. Exhale, fold, bow to yourself, to the voice of the Great Mother. As you inhale, walk it out through downward dog to supported plank, knees down. And now yogi's choice here. Exhale for chaturanga, find the support of your thighs and pubic bone for the cobra, or sit back on your heels for a shoulder stretch. Exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. Lower the knees down, tabletop position. So when the belly is getting bigger, it's just going to be challenging to step forward to lunge, like straight through the middle. It's actually, for yoga teachers, it's hard for anyone to do that. And it crunches the rectus abdominis, which we don't want. We want to avoid doing as much as we can during pregnancy. It's hard to avoid crunching 100% of the time, but we want to avoid doing it on purpose. Like, we're not crunching this way. I'll get more into that in the lecture. So I like to have pregnant folks, and I'll just take this as a teachable moment for a whole class when I know that there's pregnant people in it, because everyone benefits. From tabletop position, you'll take the leg out to the side and then the foot forward. So you're taking the leg up, out, and around to step through to lunge. You could try that on both sides. You take the knee up, out, and up to the lunge. Knee up, out, and up to the lunge. Yep. Yes. And then you can heel toe it in. So we'll start with the right leg. I probably won't be mirroring, but I want to face you. From table, take the right knee up, out, and up to the lunge. And then lift your back knee and thigh to the sky and spin your back heel to the ground. Bring your right elbow to your right thigh and your left hand to your left hip. So lateral standing poses. Standing poses are wonderful for pregnancy. You want to make sure you're really engaging the legs and straightening the legs in pregnancy to support the extra weight of the baby. In general, we want the feet as wide apart as the front knee could be over the ankle and the top of the front thigh parallel to the earth, which supports a hip opener, which is also essential for labor and delivery. However, as we get into the third trimester and the weight of the baby is getting much bigger, you'll have folks heel toe the back foot in for a shorter stance, which will provide more stability as the baby's growing and creating some instability. Okay, so in third trimester, and that's just say like when baby is obviously like getting bigger and more ready, you take a shorter stance to provide more stability. Otherwise, we want to maximize the distance in order to maximize the engagement. Take your stance wider and then pull your feet towards each other to strengthen the legs. You could stay right here or reach the left arm overhead and breathe. You can even have moms, when the belly's there, you can have a right hand come to the belly. Breathing. Breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body, bathing in breath. On an exhale, touch the ground. And with with pregnant people, both hands come inside the front foot to the floor or blocks. Lower the back knee down. Take the right leg back. And then take the left knee up, out, and around. Tuck the back toes under. Lift the back knee up. Spin the back heel to the earth. Left elbow to left thigh. Right hand to hip. Again, maximize the distance between the feet at first, and then pull the feet towards each other to engage the legs, to create integrity and stability. And then once we're in the third trimester and baby's getting much bigger, you can have pregnant folks walk the back foot in a bit. Just make sure that the front knee stays over the ankle, not forward of the ankle, not knocking in. Front knee stays directly over the ankle, knee and toes point straight ahead. Okay, if not in the third trimester, keep the long stance, reach the right arm overhead and breathe. Offer it to the breath. From the core of the pelvis, root through the legs, and as you pull the feet towards each other, engage the legs, lean back over the shoulder blades. Belly breathing through the nose. Exhale, fingertips to the floor or blocks inside the front foot. Lower the back knee down. Take it back to tabletop. Plant the hands. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body, body to baby. And then exhale, walk your hands towards the back of the mat, ground through the legs and feet, bend the legs. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, push the legs straight. Big breath in at the top. Exhale, hands to heart, wherein two hearts may beat as one breath. Release the hands. Inhale, stretch forward and up. Exhale, bend the legs, fingertips tap the earth. Remember to listen to your body. You can always rest, hydrate, spectate as needed. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fingertips to the floor or blocks. Inhale, reach the heart forward, thighs back. Exhale, fold, bow. Inhale, walk it out through dog. Exhale to table. From here, chaturanga and or cobra, or sit back on your heels for the shoulder stretch, preferably with a strap. And as you reach the shoulders back, press the heels back, ribs back, head back. Walk it forward, we'll meet in table. Downward dog. Actually want to show one more thing here. From downward dog, come to table. I want to show chaturanga bypass. So you could also use the blanket to come to cobra and skip chaturanga, especially just because it can be dicey on the shoulders. So with the blanket in place, you would bend the elbows just only as much as you need to receive the support of the blanket or bolster, and skip chaturanga. I call that chaturanga bypass. Again, so it just looks from table, shrug the shoulders up, armpits towards the ears, soften between the shoulder blades. And then as you take the heart forward, bend the elbows as much as you need and only as much as you need to lower the hips and land in cobra. Activate the legs to protect the lower back, press the tops of the feet down. Exhale, downward facing dog. Notice any newfound space in downward dog as you pedal through the soles of the feet, the backs of the legs. As we get back into the yoga studio, yoga teachers, if a pregnant person is willing to receive hands-on adjustments, and if and when hands-on adjustments are a thing again, that downward dog adjustment of hugging the hips in and up is like the most best gift you could give to a pregnant person. Hugging the hips in and up in downward dog. Like, make sure you give them that if they're willing to receive it. Lower the knees down to table. Take the right knee up, out, and around to lunge. Fingertips to the floor or blocks inside the front foot. So this is how we do crescent lunge. Fingertips to the floor or blocks inside the front foot. I recommend keeping the back knee down so as to not tweak the sacrum, which can happen easily in prenatal yoga practitioners. So I would recommend keeping the back knee down. And if this person feels stable, they can bring the hands to the front thigh or reach the arms to the sky. I recommend back toes tucked under, back knee down. Back knee can be supported with a blanket. And then to pull the back knee forward and the front foot back. As belly grows, especially like lifting this back knee up can be super tweaky on the lower back and sacrum. It's just not worth it in my opinion. Not to say like, don't do it. Again, it's not gonna hurt the baby. It's just probably not the best thing for the carrier. Touch the ground inside the front foot. Take it back to tabletop or downward dog. We'll meet in table. Take the left knee up, out, and around to lunge. Hands to the floor or blocks inside the front foot. Certainly, like with the hands on the floor inside the front foot, it'll be a little safer to lift the back knee up. But when you lift the back knee up and lift the torso up, it starts to get really dicey on the low back and sacrum. So for this one, we'll keep the back knee down, pad as needed, bring the hands to the front thigh. Notice if you feel stable, hug the back knee and front foot towards each other, breathing, reach the arms up, crescent lunge. So this certainly in place of crescent lunge, certainly in place of warrior one, this variation. Exhale to touch the ground, take it back to downward facing dog. Enjoy your breath, breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body. As you exhale, walk your hands back towards your feet. Inhale, get long through the spine. Exhale, fold hands to the floor or blocks, feet as wide as needed to accommodate the growing belly. Bend the knees, hands to thighs or elbows to thighs to start to come upright slowly. Reach the arms up, sit deep, wait for your breath. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart. Deeper breath in, longer breath out. Release the hands. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the legs, fingertips touch the earth. Inhale, get long through the spine, stretch up. Exhale, hands to the floor or blocks and fold. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to bow. Inhale to walk it out. So if your blocks are at the back of your mat, you can also, like when you know you're gonna want them for your standing poses, when you have your blocks back here, you can walk them forward. So like all the little things that are coming back to me. So you're in a supported downward dog even. And then you can lower your knees, walk your hands to the left a little bit, take the right knee up, out, and around to lunge. Lift the back knee up, spin the back heel to the earth, and as you inhale, warrior two. Again, same as extended side angle. You want to maximize the strengthening of the hip opener for the first 2 trimesters. And then once the belly's getting much larger, you can have pregnant people take a slightly shorter stance, just maintaining knee over ankle in line with the toes. Knee and toes point straight ahead. So we don't want that knee knocking in, and we don't want that knee coming forward of the ankle. Otherwise, stretch the stance, stand the ground. Certainly do all of it, like inhale, reverse warrior, exhale, Parsva, all that stuff is totally fine. When you're ready, push the front leg straight, big breath in, triangle. Exhale, right fingertips to the floor or a block, inside or outside the front leg. So the main thing with all these standing poses is as you get deeper into the 3rd trimester, you can have them shorten the stance a little bit by walking the back foot forward, just to feel more stable, or of course, bringing it to a wall. You can have a wall behind them. Breathing, belly breathing through the nose. As you exhale, bring the hands to the floor inside the front leg, spin the back heel up, and step it back to down dog or table. Also, letting folks have their hands on stable blocks here will feel nice for the calves if they've been having tight calf issues. That's more common in the 2nd trimester, I think. And from the downward dog, if you're going to come through to lunge from downward dog, you would take the left leg up and back. You can bend the leg, take it out, around and up to the lunge. More stable to do it from table, but for seasoned and experienced practitioners, you could totally step through from downward dog, just again, not crunching this way, no way. We go out to the side and up. Back heel to the ground, warrior two. Stretch your stance, stand your ground. If there's vinyasa practitioners, do your vinyasa-y thing. You can reverse your warrior, extended side angle, or several breaths in warrior two. Push the front leg straight, big breath in. Exhale, left fingertips to the floor or a block. Inside the front leg. From the left waistline, lengthening and turning open. And if you're a teacher or you're in a class where they're doing revolved poses, you can always opt for these, for extended side angle, warrior two, triangle, in place of any of the twisting poses. Exhale to touch the floor or blocks, pass through your lunge, step it back to table or downward facing dog. We'll meet in dog. And then carefully walk your blocks back towards your feet. Inhale, get long through the spine. Exhale, fold. Bend the legs, elbows to thighs. Reach the arms up and stand tall. Big breath in. Exhale, hands to heart. Release the hands. So one of the things that I believe, I want to use the word religiously, but like facetiously, because I'm not religious, but thigh stretches are important for everyone every day. A lot of times you'll see Ardha Shalabhasana, which is this pose on the belly, okay, which we're not going to do for pregnant folks. So I want to show some modifications for thigh stretches. Also, so when if this is happening in a class, okay, some alternatives would be standing at the wall for a thigh stretch. We're going to do one all together. I just want to kind of go over standing at a wall for the thigh stretch. You want to hug the knee in, shoulder up and back. If it's in their practice to do a lunge or a pigeon thigh stretch, pigeon is kind of controversial in pregnancy. We can get into that later, but you could do a thigh or a pigeon thigh stretch. I'm going to show you my favorite prenatal thigh stretch, which is great for every body, of course. Start at the back of your mat, hands to heart. Deeper breath in, longer breath out. Release the hands. Inhale, reach up, stretch up. Exhale, bend the legs, fingertips touch the ground. Inhale, reach up, Utkatasana chair pose. Exhale, fingertips to the floor or blocks, fold. Inhale, walk it out to downward facing dog. You can walk your blocks forward and then put them to the sides carefully. Find your breath, and on an exhale, we'll meet in tabletop position. I'm going to do the first side facing away from you, just so you can see it from the back. So in tabletop position, we're going to stretch let's take the left foot. Okay, I'm going to mirror. So how about, how can we do this when you all are at home? Okay, you can watch or you can just do it with me. Take the left foot over to the left. So off your mat, over to the left. Stretch your right leg straight back behind you. Ball of the foot on the ground. And then bring the right heel to the ground and open the left arm to the sky. So this is like a supported Vashisthasana, right? Press the inner edge of the bottom hand down and forward, and do make sure that the bottom shoulder is not directly over the wrist. You want to lift your hips up high and make sure that that bottom wrist is forward of the shoulder so there's not too much pressure down on the wrist. Then lift the right heel hip height. This is like a supported Ardha Chandrasana, supported half moon pose. You can stay right here for the thigh stretch. Bend the top leg, heel to butt cheek, and with your right hand, find your right foot. Hug the right knee to the midline, so don't let that right knee carry up towards the sky. Hug it in line with the hip. And then press the right knee forward as you kick the right foot back. Press the knee forward as you kick the foot back, breathing. Inhale the leg long, the arm up. Exhale to pass through table. Notice the difference, if any, from side to side. We'll take the right foot over to the right, stretch the left leg long, spin the inner edge of the left foot to the floor. Bring the left hand to the hip or the left arm to the sky. And as you press the inner edge of the bottom hand down and forward, lift the hips. Make sure that the right wrist is forward of the right shoulder. A couple of breaths here. This one's great too. Then maybe lift the heel hip height. If that feels lucky from time to time on the bottom hip, just keep the foot on the ground or come back into table. Listen to your body, stay hydrated. Maybe bend the top leg and with your left hand, find your left foot. Press the left knee forward as you kick the left foot back. Belly breathing, press the knee forward and kick the foot back. So a dynamic tension of opposites to create a deeper opening through the left hip, the left side body. Inhale the leg long, the arm long. Exhale through table. Another variation, be hands to the blocks. Walk your blocks to the left. Take your right knee up, out, and around to lunge. And then bending your back leg with your left hand, find your left foot. Can't do too many thigh stretches for the record. I mean, maybe you could, but I don't know if any of us have ever gotten to that. Especially in pregnancy, hip openers, thigh stretches, hamstring engagement. Breathing, gently release. Step the right leg back to table or dog, depending on what's happening in the class and how pregnant person is feeling. Walk blocks to the right, left knee up, out, and around. Hands to the floor, preferably blocks for this inside the front foot. And then bending the back leg, right hand for right foot. For the thigh stretch, right shoulder up and back. Could come more upright. It just adds a little bit more weight to the hips, to the sacrum, to the pelvis. So again, depending on how a pregnant person is feeling, how they're carrying, staying more forward inside the front leg will be less weight on the pelvis, or a little less weight on the pelvis. So you just have to listen to their bodies. Gently release, blocks to the side. Tabletop to downward dog. Breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body. body to baby, deeper breath in, longer breath out. And as you exhale, lower the knees to the ground, tuck the toes, sit back on the heels. Okay. So most arm balances are just best avoided. It doesn't mean practitioner can't do any arm balances. If arm balances are happening in class, I would recommend the safest bet is Vashisthasana and Vashisthasana variation. So like some of the more common arm balances you see will, again, cause crunching of the abdomen. We want to make sure to avoid anything that crunches the abdomen or twists the abdomen, okay? So you can twist open. So again, if there's a twisted lunge or a twisted triangle or any twisting pose, you're just gonna opt for the variation that opens the belly rather than twists the belly, that opens the belly rather than crunches the belly. So same thing we did, the best arm balance would be the modified Vashisthasana. This is considered an arm balance. You could be here, you could be here, depending on the level of practice before pregnancy and how the person feels. You could do, full Vashi. There's nothing in this pose, if it's in your practice, that would harm the baby, as long as you feel stable, okay? So you don't just do it for the form, you do it because it feels great and it feels stable. If it feels wobbly, back it up. It's not the time to fall down if falling can be avoided. I remember when I was pregnant with Theo, I did a slip and fall on ice. I just got back up, didn't think anything of it. When I was pregnant with Gigi, I tripped and ate cement, didn't think anything of it. It's fine. It was fine. I wasn't worried about it, but you don't want to do anything in your practice that could cause falling. You want to avoid falling. It's just not the time to fall on purpose. So if the arm balances are in your practice or in a person's practice and they're strong and they feel great, Vashisthasana is cool. Most of the other ones, not so much, because they're going to crunch the belly. If a person doesn't have arm balances in their practice and the room is doing Bakhasana, crow pose, which is a super common public class arm balance, right? You see a lot of crow pose in public classes. No practitioner should do crow pose because it crunches the belly. You'd have them walk their hands back. And the way that we often get in to crow is through Malasana, which is a wonderful pose that every pregnant person should do every day. This is a great pose for practicing Kegels. So you just want to make sure, let's do this. Let's pretend that the class is doing Bakhasana. Let's all meet in downward dog. We'll meet in downward dog. And the teacher is about to teach a room full of not pregnant people, some arm balance. You can pretend it's crow pose or anything. And when you hear that, you walk your hands back towards your feet. Take your feet outer hips distance apart. Find your blocks. Turn your knees and toes out. Bring your elbows to your thighs. And sit, hips and pelvis towards the earth. See that your knees and toes are pointing in the same direction. So we don't want toes out, knees in, or vice versa. Knees and toes should be pointing in the same direction. And you can sit as low as you can keep your heels grounded. So important to have your heels grounded here. And if the heels come up, then you can give yourself or offer your students a little bit of support under the heels in the form of a folded blanket. Arms come between the legs, and you hug legs into arms and press arms into legs. And as you root through the heels, extend through the spine and breathe, belly breathing through the nose. As you inhale, you can slowly draw the pelvic floor in and up. Hold it at the top, but don't hold your breath, breathing. And as you exhale, slowly release the pelvic floor down. Hold it at the bottom, but keep breathing. And for third trimester folks, not even third, I would say 36 weeks or so plus, this is in the slides, you're going to want to place some support underneath and have mom or a pregnant person sit against the wall, okay, for more support. That's just to say that At around like 35, 36 weeks, this position could start to cause some softening in the pelvic floor, maybe some premature dilation of the cervix that's just best avoided. So we want to just give some support here so that we're not having like baby weight of uterus hanging in the pelvic floor. So prior to that, try to have an active squat, an active malasana, and then past a certain point, when we like don't want to go into labor and delivery, we give some support here. Okay, and we'll do a couple rounds of Kegels. So in your supported squat or unsupported squat, close your eyes, find your breath, breathing. I'm going to remove my support, but especially for the moms who maybe want more support, you can bring it to the wall and sit a little higher. This is a birthing position in many cultures, so you want to spend a lot of time here during pregnancy. And now as you inhale, just draw the pelvic floor like from the ground to the first or second floor inside of yourself, if you can visualize that, and hold it there even as you take another breath or two. And with your next breath, draw it up to the third floor, hold it there as you breathe. And on your next breath, take it up to the roof deck. Take in the view as you breathe. You should be like deep inside yourself here. And as you exhale, slowly let it go all the way back down to the ground, slowly. And breathe. With your next inhalation, slowly draw from the ground all the way up to the roof deck, deep inside yourself. Hold it there as you continue to breathe. With your next exhalation, just let it release down to the second floor. Stay there as you breathe. And slowly let it all the way down to the ground. And lower your hips down. And shake your legs out. You can bring your hands behind you for support. So Sue always used to say, like, anytime you see the color red, do Kegels. So it's just like, it's kind of like brushing your teeth. You should do them every day. And certainly if you have a yoga practice during pregnancy, it's a great place to practice them, especially when the rest of the class is doing something that you know is best avoided or you're just not sure about. Like, when in doubt, do Kegels. And not only is it great to have like strong muscular connection and function there, but, as any of the birthing people in the room can attest to, shit gets really fucked up. And that's not a technical term, but it gets messed up down there. And when you do Kegels, not only is there like a relationship and an intimacy that you're cultivating to the complexity of the pelvic floor muscles, but there's also a neuro pathway that gets developed so that when those muscles are damaged or injured, as they often are in pregnancy and in labor and delivery, that when you go to recover and rehab, that there's that strong neuro pathway of connection to remember the muscle memory. So it's really important, and I'm so glad that I had like good coaching on that. I'm pretty sure they're in the slides. If they're not in the slides, I promise I'll add them. Or nowadays you could Google anything. But it's like this, you got to practice the like quick in, quick out, and the slow in and the slow out. So you're well versed there. Okay. So whenever you come seated on the floor, you want to make sure, again, mom has the support of the wall if needed, birthing person has the support of a wall if needed, and definitely is sitting up on support. I'm going to turn to face you here. Do you want to bolster? Here, you can have this one. Or you also have the cushion. Yeah, see if that's enough. If not, you can put your blanket on top. And when you come to do seated work, you want to make sure, again, that there's the wall and cushioning sitting up high enough so as the hips and pelvic floor aren't gripping. And then again, like a lot of these poses are twists. Ardha Matsyendrasana is a super common pose. Can manually widen the buttock flesh, which will give the lower back extension. And again, we would never go this way in pregnancy. So this is like the common version, or sometimes we take foot outside and twist, We're not going to take foot outside the leg. So if this is happening in class or anything like this, you would, again, keep the feet anywhere from hips distance to, as belly gets bigger, outer hips distance. So if I'm like in my third trimester, I got to make space for belly here. And then I'll bring right hand to the floor or a block behind me, left arm inside the left leg for, this is called an open belly twist. Okay, open belly twist. Bathing in breath. As you inhale, feel the belly expand, deep belly breathing through the nose. Exhale, draw belly and baby towards the spine, not a squeeze, like a hug in. Inhale, give space. Exhale, hug in. Inhale to untwist. Make the left leg straight, then the right leg in. Sorry, I'm not mirroring. Take the left fingertips to the floor or a block. The higher on support the hips are, the more you're going to want to lift up the hand behind them. And then arm inside the leg, press arm into leg, leg and arm to leverage the twist. Really important to ground through the sitting bones and draw the low back in and up. Big breath in, press arm into leg, leg into arm, and as you exhale, twist. Belly breathing. Inhale to untwist. Can bring the soles of the feet together just for Baddha Konasana. I always like to do something symmetrical after a twist. Can manually widen the buttock flesh. Hold the fronts of the shins, sit up tall. Also, again, depending on a pregnant person's hips and flexibility, you could place a block between the feet a little. And then as long as, again, belly's not crashing onto anything here, you can fold forward, can walk the hand forward. Press the feet to each other or the feet into the block. And then you can play a little bit here with either, as you claw the fingertips without moving them, energetically pull the hands back towards the feet and you'll get more extension through the lower back. Or if you press the hands down and forward, you can get more extension down through the sitting bones. So pressing the fingertips down and forward is going to help root the sitting bones towards the earth. Pressing the fingertips down and back is going to help draw the low back in and up. So it just depends. It's like a subtlety. You have to kind of see and know what you need and how to walk it in. And exhale to shake it out. Okay. So Shavasana. Oftentimes there's a lot out there that recommends pregnant people not lie flat on their backs after a certain point in pregnancy. We're going to get into that in the lecture as well. I just want to say that every person is different. And again, every pregnancy is different. The most important thing is to make sure that the pregnant person is as comfortable as possible for Shavasana, which is meant to be the place where we can deeply relax. And in prenatal yoga, it's like so vital that the pregnant person gets the opportunity to relax. So some options, I want to go over a couple, and then I want everyone to find the place that's comfortable for them, that's not your classic Shavasana. The most sort of conservative and recommended approach is going to be to lay on the left side. So mom or pregnant person's going to need support under her head. Once she gets to the third trimester, she's going to need some support under the left side of her belly and probably underneath the top thigh. So you're going to need lots of props. Look around at what you have. I have 2 blocks, a bolster and a blanket. If you're at home, you might just want to, if you don't have a bolster, you can get a pillow or cushion from your couch or your bed. Okay. And then to come to rest on the left side, we'll place the left side of the head on the pillow or cushion. For those who are popping, you can start to place a blanket under the left side of your belly. I don't need this for today, but you can kind of just give a little support under the left side of your belly if it's there. You may not need this, but you just might want it. Y'all might, also, I remember at certain points in each of my pregnancy, not for the whole time, My hips were like just sore to laying on the ground. I've never been that way other than a few parts of my pregnancy. So some of these like first trimester mamas, you might want underneath your hip for support. So give yourself the padding, the cushioning you need. And then you can either have a pillow between your legs this way, or if you're more of if you like the side, the pillow or the cushion between the legs, or if you're more of a belly person, you might straighten out the bottom leg and give a pillow, cushion, block, or support for the top leg. I know that's a lot. Just want to show all of this. And then even like a pillow, if you have if you're home and doing yoga and you have that snuggle body pillow, just have at it. Get some love on with your snuggle body pillow. Find a comfortable position for your arms on your left side. This is option one. And for the folks who are pregnant, if you find that you're like very comfortable here, there is no need to move. Just take this time to start your rest and trust that this is recording and you can see the other options later. If you're not perfectly comfortable and or want to come along for the ride for the other variations, you can press through your arms to lift yourself up. Again, some support for the hips and sacrum. You'll need a bolster for this variation. If you're in a yoga studio, you have bolsters. Pretend that this block is against the wall. It also doesn't necessarily need to have the wall. But this block is on its highest height, and then there's a block in front, and we place the bolster over the blocks. So you have one high and one low. And I'm pretty sure I put pictures of these in the slides. And then you'll come to sit not on the bolster, in front of the bolster. And certain times in pregnancy, like you might want a rolled up blanket here. This is very case by case basis that we can prop pregnant people up to maximize comfort. But just for today, you'll sit in front of the bolster and lie back on an incline. Start with your knees bent, your feet flat on the floor. The arms can come to rest down to the sides, or hands can come to rest on the belly. I often recommend that. If it's comfortable, no pain in the lower back whatsoever, you can stretch the legs out long, let the feet roll open. So this is a supported Shavasana with an incline, the head elevated above the heart. If it's not comfortable to have the legs long, you can bend the legs, take the feet wide apart and let the knees rest against each other at the midline. Of course, another variation is feet together, knees apart, but you must have support underneath pregnant people's legs here. So they're not just hanging out, no way. You gotta have support here. So if you have the support at home and you love the Baddha Konasana variation, by all means. Otherwise, resting comfortably on your left side or in the supported Shavasana with legs long or knees bent and resting against each other. Close your eyes and look for the breath, and let the breath hold your vision. The currents of the breath flow in the direction of the heart first, wherein the voice of the Great Mother resides, always present, intrinsically peaceful, utterly powerful. Let every breath in guide you in the direction of the voice of the Great Mother as it feeds and nourishes your body and your baby. And then let every breath out be an offering. Each exhalation carries the essence of two hearts. Slow down the beginning of each inhale, trace it in. Slow down the beginning of each exhalation, follow it out. Focus on the breath and practice breathing in an even, smooth, and steady manner. Allow yourself to receive 5 smooth, steady, even breaths. Belly breathing through the nose as you inhale, the belly expands. Exhale, the belly softens inward. Inhale to expand. Exhale to soften. The voice of the Great Mother holds the wisdom that allows us to expand and to soften the way mothers do. It's in every single one of us. Feel yourself expand with the inhales and soften with the exhales. Invite a deeper breath in and the longer breath out. As you deepen your breath, feel how naturally the breath deepens you. Let the spirit that you are begin to awaken the body that you have. The wisdom, the intelligence, the goodness, the beauty, the virtuosity. And when you're ready, bend the legs and feel both feet on the ground. If you're on your left side, you can begin to press through your arms to lift yourself into a seated position. If you're inclined on support, bring your palms to the ground. Shift your hips a little to the right and roll onto your left on the support. And then push through your arms to come up into a seated posture. Sit up on support and use a wall behind you for support as needed. Just take as comfortable a seat as humanly possible for you in this moment. With the eyes closed, bring the hands together before the heart in Anjali Mudra. And a final gesture of sincere self-reverence to the voice of the Great Mother, always present, intrinsically peaceful, utterly powerful, and a gesture of courageous and generous self-offering that places the voice of the Great Mother before us as a guide. For we know that it is this energy, this power that the world needs most. As you bow to her in you with all my heart, I bow to this voice, to this energy in each of us. Namaste.